Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So we are going to be doing verse 31 of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita today. And just to recap the last verse, Lord Krishna told Arjuna a very amazing statement. He said that even if the most sinful worship me with devotion to none else, means with single pointedness, he too should indeed be regarded as righteous. For why? Because he has rightly resolved. So we saw in detail everything. And this next verse is supporting that how exactly that happens. He's talking about it. So this is a verse here. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvata shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Kshipram is soon enough, jaldi. Bhavati, he becomes. Dharmatma, so he becomes Dharmatma, righteous. And then Swamiji's commentary, Dharmatma has a lot deeper meaning. Shashvataha means eternal. Shanti, we all know what is Shanti. And here is a deeper meaning of Shanti. Nigacchati, attains to. Kaunteya, we know now it is Arjun, son of Kunti. Prati janihi, know for certain, know for sure, means no doubt about it, kind of. Promise by Lord Krishna. Na is not, me is my, bhakta, we know, devotee. Pranashyati, destroyed. My devotee is never destroyed. He really wants to make Arjun, feel good and, give him encouragement so much. And through Arjun, all of us also. So what he's saying over here that, so we saw that in the previous verse, Bhagavan was saying that those who take this firm resolve in the path of goodness and who want to attain to resolve God, so that this verse is supporting it. Bhagavan says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Such a person becomes dharmatma. And, different angles of who dharmatma is. And that means Dharmatma is the one who becomes one whose mind becomes totally absorbed by goodness. Path of Dharma, you can say. So basically what happens with this person is that he has a total transformation, And Nikhilanandji is really very good at giving worldly examples. So he gave the example of a computer. He said that if you have an old computer and the software kind of is messed up, and not working properly, then what do? You just change that software and put a new one, and immediately things start working better. So he was saying that what it is that similarly he's saying the wiring of this person is gadbad ho gaya wiring mein. So he said घर के wiring में नहीं, उसके दिमाग के wiring में गड़बड़ हो गया. So दिमाग के wiring में गड़बड़ होता है, अंदर सब गड़बड़ होके निकलता है, right? You tell him something good and he will make it bad. कोई लोग होते हैं ना, कुछ अच्छा करने को बोलो तो वो उल्टा ही सोचते हैं. Like that, So even if a good things you try to do, they will find some fault, some loophole to make it bad. So, and he was just saying that they get joy out of doing wrong things. And he gave a kind of funny example that आजकल तो मैंने नहीं देखा है, वो एक न्यूज़पेपर का बॉक्स होता है ना जिसमें you used to put coin and then you open and then you take out one newspaper. So it's like an honor system. You put one coin and you're supposed to take one. So you say, wiring defective होएगा ना तो वो जानबूझ के 2 लेगा, 3 लेगा. मजा आता है कुछ उल्टा सीधा करने में. So उसको दुराचारी बोला है. So he's saying, and then what happens when he makes a resolve? No, this is all wrong. I need to do, go on the path of dharma. So wiring starts changing. The whole system, internal system goes under modification. So that's the example. I thought it was a pretty good example. So that person becomes dharmatma or good. And then he was saying that कुछ दिनों के बाद वो खुद ही सोचेगा, when you start thinking what I used to be before, he's like, wow, how could that be? I'm changed because he's connected to something higher now, And so he's thinking, what happens to his thinking? It becomes more sattvic, And then once you stay in that sattvic mode, then the person start experiencing peace, because the result of sattvic mode is peace. And then Bhagwan says, Shashvata Shanti Nigachati. Attain Shashvat means eternal peace. That's eventually he will get that, soon enough. And then he was just explaining to us, Nikhilanandji, that peace actually is within us only. So it's not like he's like seeking something outside, And all it is that it has been disturbed, that peace has been disturbed by his negative thinking and negative activity, as though the covering has happened on it. So it is within him only, everything. So when he changes, then what happens is whole mind instantly start changing, and then he experiences that peace. And then another very important thing he said, that we have discussed it before, that he's saying if one person attains that peace, that is contagious. How people around him also start feeling that. And that's why a lot of us have that experience, that we go and sit near some Mahatma and you start feeling so good, Or you sit with the nature, very peaceful nature, and your mind start getting peaceful. So peace is contagious from that perspective. So, and then he was just saying, Nikhilanandji was just reminding us that if you want the world to be peaceful, you begin with yourself. Whole time you say, oh, world is so bad and this and that. Hey, you are part of the world too. You work on yourself, you will start experiencing peace around you, and other people will benefit. So I thought that was a very nice thing he said. And then he was just saying that if I'm disturbed, I cannot make the world happy either. So it has to begin with myself. And then Bhagwan says something very, very nice, beautiful. He says that, He Kaunteya prati jani hi, means understand this firmly. जानना एक word होता है, और उसके आगे अगर प्रति लगाया ना संस्कृत में, means firmly, अच्छे से जान लो, कोई doubt नहीं है, totally be convinced. What? That na me bhakta pranashyati, that my devotee never perishes. मतलब never word उन्होंने use किया, इतना अच्छा word use किया. And this same promise has been given in chapter 6 also by Bhagwan. So periodically he's giving these promises to us through Arjuna. And why? Scientifically speaking, because God is within us only. He's always with us. And if you connect with him, there is no point, you're not going to get... वैसे भी, it is just a wrong idea that we have that, something bad is happening to me. Really speaking, nothing bad is happening, but this person realizes it. So this is the great assurance given to us by Lord Krishna. And then, but very important thing he said, because here he said, na me bhakta pranashyati, right? So mera bhakt ka kabhi कोई destruction नहीं होता. So Nikhilanandji brought this point that the bhakt means according to the definition given by Bhagwan. कि भक्त कौन है? Because I can think in my arrogance, मैं बहुत बड़ी भक्त हूँ, मैं ये पूजा करती हूँ, वहाँ मंदिर में जाती हूँ, ये चढ़ावा. No. That's not what Bhagwan is. Bhagwan did not talk about all those things. In fact, he brought something from chapter 12, actually, that what is a bhakt? Bhagwan ने elaborate definition दिया उसका, कि मैं कौन मुझे प्रिय है. जो प्रिय भगवान को है वही भक्त हो सकता है ना भगवान का. So the whole statement starts of Bhagwan with adveshta sarva bhutanam, and this is a very popular verse in Bhagavat Geeta, and our teachers should talk about that a lot too. It says adveshta मतलब किसी को hate नहीं करे, मतलब एक भी इंसान को नहीं कर सकता hate, because sarva bhutanam, every living being is, you have to have, and then it follows by maitriya karuna evacha, means उसके साथ friendship और करुणा होनी चाहिए. But the main thing was adveshta sarva bhutanam, that you cannot hate anyone, hate none, not even a single person. So he was just saying that so many virtues are given. That's the real devotee. So, he's funny. So he said कि लोग बोलेंगे नहीं नहीं मैं तो मंदिर में जाता हूँ, मैं तो लाइन पे खड़ा रहता हूँ, मैं तो नारियल चढ़ाता हूँ, फूल चढ़ाता हूँ. And then उसको पूछो, do you hate anyone? Oh yeah, there was one smelly guy over there. I can't stand him. He comes every day in front of me and, he's not taken a bath and I just can't stand, I hate him. And then once you kind of get this person going, वो बोलेगा हाँ मेरे को पुजारी भी पसंद नहीं है, ये करता है वो करता है. So he's saying that I hate all these people, but I'm a great devotee because I do namaskar and all that. So he was just saying this is what happens. So or he will say that, oh, I hate my relatives, I hate my mother-in-law, but I love God. So God is saying that's not my devotee. I thought that was a good point that he brought, something for us to think about. So he's saying that Bhagwan will never consider such a person a devotee. So you have to become devotee from his angle. First statement that no hatred for nobody. Why? Because everywhere, in everybody, Bhagwan is there. So if you are hating somebody, remember what Swamiji said, you can hate the act but not the person. So that's what it is. So you cannot hate any being because God resides in him. So if you hate somebody, you are hating God. That's the logic. That's why you cannot. So this is what Bhagwan is saying, that my bhakta never perishes. And then he's also like showing that he's impartial towards everybody. We talked about it. No matter what you have done, he doesn't look at it. He doesn't look at your resume, what you have done in the past. As long as, hey, I want to do this now, gives everybody a chance, which is such an amazing thing. So this is very simple verse, but very powerful. This is what it's saying. And the next verse is going to be very interesting. And a lot of people misunderstand that verse a lot. So we have to take it. It's a very subtle verse. So we will see it next week. But this particular verse, any question or comment, or anybody has anything more to add before we read it? Okay, so looks like everybody's satisfied with Bhagwan's promise and everybody believes in his promise. So since Meeraji came after so long, would you like to read? It's up to you.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Soon he becomes righteous and attains eternal peace. O Kaunteya, know for certain that my devotee is never destroyed. The logical thoughts that lie behind the daring assertion of Krishna are being indicated in this stanza. A man of evil ways, when he takes to a life of single-pointed devotion propelled by his ardent resolve, that man soon becomes righteous. The term dharma has already explained in the opening of a commentary as the law of being. Just as heat is the specific quality, dharma, of fire, without which fire cannot exist, the dharma of man is the divine Atman in him, without which none of his personality layers can ever come to express of itself. Therefore, the term dharmatma in the stanza is not fully expressed when it is translated as a man of righteousness.
So we have seen in the past that how Vedanta describes dharma of a thing is without which it cannot be. Like, if a sugar decides that I don't want to be sweet anymore, you can't call it sugar anymore. So that's what dharma of a thing is. So when you translate to human beings, our dharma is our atma, our self. So this person is connected to that self. That's why he becomes dharmatma, because from that height, he's not going to do anything wrong anyway. That's why, the worldly word dharma is righteousness, because if somebody operates from that angle, he will be dharmatma. So that's how it's the highest form of definition of dharma. Yeah.
Single-pointed devotion and self-application develops concentration and therefore enhances the subtlety of reception of the mind, and such a mind finds its balance even in the highest altitudes of its meditative flights. In good time, meaning ere long, he comes to gain glimpses of the infinite experience and thus comes to live more and more as a dynamic saint, wafting the fragrance of divinity through his motives, thoughts, and actions.
So Swamiji used a very poetic language, but just single-pointed devotion and self-application develops concentration. So we know in the worldly pursuits also, if somebody wants some worldly thing and they do it with concentration and self-application, he's going to get results, right? So same principle applies here in the spiritual world, that if he goes with that kind of resolve, then he will find his mind will become balanced, and soon enough he will have a glimpse of the infinite experience that we are striving for. And then he will become like a dynamic saint. And then when, like Nikhilananji was saying, wherever he goes, he's spreading this peace and happiness and, around him. So it not only benefits him, it benefits the world. That's what it's trying to say.
The next stage would necessarily be then that he gets more and more established in this divine awareness of his own infinite glory and attains eternal peace. The term peace is one of the most bombarded and ill-treated terms, maximum used and little understood in our times. Peace is not the temporary cessation of the war condition, though we generally accept it to be so in the world. When one generation has torn itself into bits, when one generation has torn into bits half the existing population, and in this effort, when the victorious half gets itself maimed and broken, shattered and crushed, ulcerated and oozing in their physical, mental, and intellectual layers, there comes a dull pause laden with the fatigue, wherein the victorious lie back to mourn for the dead and groan for its own ulcers. And this we have learned to call peace in the world.
He really blasted everybody, right? That, don't, पहले तो लड़ो मरो, फिर उसके बाद बोलो अभी peace treaties हो रही है, ये वाला peace की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. That's what he was trying to say. That when Vedanta talks about peace, it's something, that you have within yourself, you create, and then next paragraph will tell that what actually peace means.
Religion has most sternly practical and vividly healthy valuation of life to meekly accept such a bleeding interval between two death dances as a satisfying goal of life. The peace that is indicated here is the inward peace which is beyond the thunders and storms of life, which having gained, the individual comes to find himself ever in an oasis in the midst of deserts, ever in a harbor in the midst of storms, ever in bliss, even when nailed on a cross or torn into bits or made to face the smoky end of a noisy gun.
He was very poetic in his expression. So everybody understood. He's saying, बाहर कुछ भी हो रहा हो, उसको तुम कितना भी तुम सताओ, कुछ भी करो, उसकी peace नहीं break हो सकती. This peace that they are talking. I mean, for us, it's like, my God, ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं क्या? But Arjuna also asked the same question, right? He asked in chapter 2. He said, my God, you're talking about somebody that I can't imagine I can be, but can you describe this person? And then, he took 18 verses to describe the man of steady wisdom, that how he's not like a person who's sitting in the gufa, according to him. He is a man, he's saying he can be out in the market doing everything, but his peace will not be broken and he will not get shaken by any circumstances, because he is so connected to that wisdom. He is totally established in that Atma. So that person, and then he would just say, and then we saw that he referenced what he's talking about. Some people think, aise bhi log hote hain kya? But it's like Jesus. He was part of the history, and everybody knows that they nailed him on the cross. And then at that time, he was not shouting, at them. He was just saying, God, please forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. How much peace he had within himself. The same thing he's talking about, that these people are real, and whatever they face, that is called peace. And, that's what he's talking about.
This substantial edifice of peace, which strengthens and fortifies the existence in us, is the tranquility divine, which we come to live as our essential being when the mind stops its mad revelry of its own agitations and excitements. There is no religion in the world which does not point out to this goal, experienceable when the mind is at rest. A still mind is an open window through which man peeps out to see himself reflected in the mirror of truth. The term guaranteeing here that a true devotee soon reaches the supreme peace is to be rightly understood as not a destination that lies far away from us, but that it is only a rediscovery in ourselves of our own true nature.
So this is a very, very powerful statement that he made, that you're not going to go looking for peace. I have to reach that peace, some other destination. It is within you only. And then how do you get that? That, he has said that when the mind stops his mad revelry among his agitation and excitements, because all that agitation and excitement is for the worldly things. And somebody was saying that, 99% of all the things we imagine, ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega, nahi hota hai, right? And that 1% that happens, nobody can stop that anyway. So why are we? So that was a very interesting analysis of, why we shouldn't worry about it. So that's what it is. And he was just saying that whatever it is, we have to work on our own mind, basically. And then the other thing I was thinking of, that, this peace that they're talking about and that strengthens and fortifies the existence and all that. So when those 18 verses were given by Lord Krishna about, man of steady wisdom, who has attained this peace. So for us, we can read through that and try to strive to be that. It's like, fake it until you make it. So try to copy them and be like the way they are in the world, and then we have some chance of getting there, So it is available to everybody. We have to make a firm resolve. What Bhagavan is promising, if you walk on this path, eventually you will get it, And for us, I think, even if our threshold increases a little bit, we should be happy that, hey, we are moving in the right direction, So that's how, for us,
The perfection indicated in religions lies only as far away from us as our waking state is from our dreams. It is a question of rightly adjusting the focus. If a camera is out of focus, the photo snapped will give only a blurred representation of a fairyland, while the same scene photographed by the same camera, well focused and adjusted, gives us its gorgeous beauty with all details in the photo. A mind and intellect maladjusted and incessantly getting shunted between the ever-rising waves of desires and passions are not the right instruments to cognize and discover the truth that lies beneath the mind in the same bosom.
So he's giving such beautiful example that it is our own mind that it can be like a mirror, and the God can reflect there and we can see it clearly. But if our mind is messed up, wrong wiring, like the Nikhilanandji was talking about, or this photograph also these days, so our cameras are self-focusing and all that, it's all easy, but we know the old camera, how we used to focus. And and even now, if the lens is dirty, and all these things are not going to give you good picture. So all they are telling you that you cleanse your mind, and the peace, you will get to that stage where you will be established in that. That's the whole idea, but he's giving different examples.
The second line of the stanza brings out the incomparable missionary in Krishna, who seems to explode himself with his own rising fire and enthusiasm. After declaring the truth that even a man of dire evil ways can start his pilgrimage on the very day he takes unto himself the firm resolve to educate his mind, and after indicating the stages of his growth, till he reaches the supreme peace, the wooer of the gopis here, as it were, pats on the back of Arjuna and declares, "Boldly you can proclaim that my devotee is never destroyed."
So you saw that on one hand we might be thinking, oh my God, I'll never reach this stage. How can I? This is so lofty. So Krishna Bhagwan ने बोला कि उसको एक जैसे बोला ना पीठ पे थपकी देके बोला, don't worry Parth, my what you call my bhakt is never destroyed, my devotee is never destroyed. So he's telling us also, and it is such a great promise that if you, and we have talked about it, if you walk one step, he will do 10 steps for us. But chal ke to pehle dikhao, you have to make that effort. That's all it is. This is, I absolutely love. Actually, I made a note over here, God knows when, and I said, thank you, God, because on this verse, I was so happy once, we understood what it meant and all. I felt so great, so I think that this is such a great promise, because I think that if we start feeling down, it's like a parent, say, you can do it. I'm behind you. That's what he's saying. That, don't worry, you can do it. I'm behind you. That's what he's saying.
Somewhere down the sad annals of the recent Hindu history, this missionary zeal has been given up, and a cold, stepmotherly attitude has come to be taken up by the learned Pandit class, who have come to think that to confuse their followers is the noblest of their arts. We, as children of the present age, are made to pay the highest penalties for the mistakes of the misguided past generations of unimaginative religious leaders. Earlier also we found Krishna insisting that Arjuna should, without any reservation, declare to the world what he has understood. In the Upanishads also, during the last lecture class and on the convocation day, when the teacher bade farewell to his students and led them out to live in the society, they were commissioned not only to live what they had been taught and to continue educating themselves, but also to preach what they knew and what they lived.
He's talking about Taittriya Upanishad here, because if you see the footnote, and that's what we are saying, remember he said that study, follow, live, and go tell the rest of the world. That's what it is. And here, I think Swamiji, when he came from the Himalayas, because he was himself had gone to college and educated, he was very well versed in English. You can see that. So, and in those days, the people who were like going to college and knew English and all, they had completely divorced themselves from the religion, saying it's all nonsense kind of thing. And then there were some bad things happening too. The Pandits were confusing them, doing so many ritualism and ye karoge to ye ho jayega, wo ho jayega, andhavishwas, ye wo. That's why the educated class didn't even want to come near it. So he really shattered all that, and he brought us back to Bhagavat Geeta, to Upanishad. So much science in there, so much knowledge, so much everything is there. So then look, even Krishna Bhagavan is telling, and the Upanishads say that you should know these truth and tell the whole world. And here it clearly says, my devotee is never destroyed. So if somebody is trying to shake your faith and say, oh, ye nahi karoge to ye ho jayega, it's all nonsense, right? It is more an internal journey. So that's what he's trying to bring out, the blasting people. And we know, I think I feel very connected to what he said, because there was so much confusion. Last couple of generations, and all that, what to do. If you ask them why you are doing what you're doing, they didn't even know. Right? Now, because of the internet and because of all these, lot of things are coming out, good things are coming out too. So internet is like a two-edged sword. A lot of people can spread a lot of false things, but you have to use your intellect to see what is false and what is good. A lot of good things are coming out too, So that's what he's trying to say. And it's backed by Upanishad, that this knowledge doesn't have to be just with few pandits who are going to contaminate it and then give it to people. No, you should know this yourself directly, and you should tell everybody, what directly Krishna Bhagavan is saying or what directly Upanishad is saying. That's what he's saying.
Showing Following the line with the spirit of the rishis, Krishna says that Arjuna should declare from the housetops the one unchallengeable truth, that the seeker of the nobler values shall know no failure if his resolve is firm and he is sincere in his self-application. The special phrase employed here to declare Krishna's advice to Arjuna, Prati Janihi,
Yeah, this is from the verse, Prati Janihi. Yeah.
Prati Janahi has in Sanskrit its own special powers of assertion and can express a sort of imperative urgency. Those who are students of the Sanskrit language can easily perceive it. Those who are not may make a note of the same.
So Swamiji wants to say that how these words are very powerful, very strong as it can be. Prati jani hi. जानना मतलब to know. Prati jani hi बहुत अच्छी तरह से. सारी दुनिया को बता दो. Kind of, इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है. That kind of जानना. That, my bhakt is never destroyed. And he says that the one who, no failure, if he has a firm resolve and is sincere in application. So there are 2 points, that he has to firmly resolve and then he has to be very sincere and single pointed. All those other things also come. And then, in Bhagavat Geeta also, when we come to chapter 18, Bhagwan says that, whoever reads this Bhagavat Geeta, वो मुझे बहुत प्रिय है, लेकिन the one who reads, understands and tells other, वो मुझे और भी ज़्यादा प्रिय है. So he's saying that don't stop at just knowing yourself. Understand, live by it, try all those things and tell others also. So all of you have to do that. Huh?
मैंने कहा उमा जी हम सबसे ज्यादा प्रिय हैं.
All
लगा था मीना जी उमा जी तो हमसे हम लोग से ज्यादा आगे इसका
nothing like that. And it's like we don't have to be shy about it. If we believe in something, then we should just talk to other people also. चाहे वो सुने या नहीं सुने, वो उनका problem है, right? But हम लोग तो and when you are telling others, so हमारा अंदर ज़्यादा घुसता है. Do you agree? That when you are, so that's what it is. So there is a whole science behind it, why that is good. So you also pick up few people who have never read Gita, उनको थोड़ा encourage करना शुरू कर दो. फिर सभी प्रिय बन जाएंगे भगवान के.
But isn't it true that you cannot tell who don't believe, who are really against it?
True.
It won't get them, it'll anger them and anger you.
See, this is what it is. So that's where you use your discrimination. अभी किसी को तुम बोलना शुरू करो कृष्ण भगवान की गीता के बारे में और वो बैठ के कृष्ण भगवान को ही गाली देना शुरू कर दे, तो obviously you want to stop there. But if somebody has a little doubt, and in the beginning people are going to have a doubt, but that's up to your skills.
But doubt is different. Then you see that you can help. Right. But if there's so much against it, this life is not correct.
Right. So what you said, very interesting, because Krishna Bhagwan ने already एक और वर्ड्स डाल दिया वहाँ पे और बोला कि the one who does not believe in it or kind of says bad things about it or doesn't do seva, उसके लिए नहीं है. So obviously, but all he's saying that most of the time, we are kind of quiet about it. You don't need to be. That's what he's saying. Whoever wants to listen, and sometimes, people may not react and they might listen. If they just tell, hey, you shut up, I don't want to listen, leave them alone. But even if they don't react, we can give a little dose of it every time. Maybe after a few times they will open up. We don't know. So I think use your discrimination. There are 2 points to it. You find some middle ground and do it. That's all it is. Use your common sense about it. That's what I would say, because it is like any other thing in the world. But all he's saying is you should make a sincere effort at it. It's just, and that's why, on one hand, these people who preach and all that, we find them like annoying sometimes. These people will come. I have actually some secret respect for them. It's a different thing that you don't want to believe them or you don't want to engage with them. But somebody coming to your door, what they believe in, and they're trying going door to door, उसमें भी कितना चाहिए, right? You need a lot of courage to go tell a stranger And in Hare Krishna over here, every day they go big book distribution. And they might have 50, 60, 70% failure rate, but there are other, I don't know exactly what, maybe even 5, 10% people benefit from it, right? So they don't give up, So when Bhagwan made that statement, you don't have to tell this gyan to people, who cavil at it and who don't, don't want to listen this way. There was one bhakt who said, "Koi mujhe gali bhi dena to bhi main bolunga," because it's so good. So there उसकी श्रद्धा है वो, right? So आप सब अपने अंदर झांक के देख लो कि भाई how much can we tolerate somebody's rejection, But on an average, if you have something good, try to share it with others because you don't know who's going to benefit, how much. And then remember, Meenaji, you only said there are some people we think that we are progressing and we feel, oh, they are like this. And then suddenly they cross us and they reach the highest. Right? You never know, So who's going to...
I always felt that unless I live it, whatever I'm learning, I cannot say to the others because I have no proof till I live it.
No, that true. But there is something that happens when you continuously study and do satsang, your shraddha start increasing. I may not have experience and my shraddha start increasing. And if nothing else, I would say, you can always say to people, hey, I'm enjoying reading this. I'm learning a lot. You do it too. I'm not saying whether it's good or bad or that's their journey, But some value that we feel in these shastras or anything like that, we can definitely share because some people have this crazy idea that, they don't even know what it is sometimes. There's so many people from India, they don't know. Like somebody was making that statement, it said that, the world doesn't believe in it. I said, no, it's more mainly world to start believing in it. There are a lot of people in India who don't believe because never picked up the book. And then they will hear some comment by somebody, some negative thing. It happened recently. Like they picked up one verse from the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, and they said, how could Ramchandra ji say this statement? So my first question was, have you read the Ramayana? How can you criticize when you don't even know the character? You don't know in what context somebody is saying, what the circumstances are. And then sometimes to understand these things, you need some pure mind to tell you, like some Mahatma, that, hey, this is the analysis of it. Like that next verse is going to come. If somebody just picks up that next verse, they might take it completely wrong, So when people criticize something, the first thing I ask them, have you read the whole thing? Then you are qualified. Then if you have a doubt, it's a genuine doubt. And you may have a doubt, 100%, there's no doubt. And then whether you decide whether you want to believe it or not, but you have not given it any time to it, and then you are sitting and criticizing, I find a big problem in it. It's like somebody criticizing, the government, and then you ask them, did you vote? No. Then why are you complaining? You have not done the first, kind of what your duty is in a democratic place, Oh, I hate both the candidates. Pick up one, otherwise the ज़्यादा दुष्ट वाला आ जाएगा तुम्हारे नजरों में जो है. Pick the lesser of the two. What choice do you have? So you got to take you can't run away from the responsibility. So that's what it is, that when people criticize, that's what it is. You can try in the end, so it is unki zindagi, unke decisions, right? We can only try. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll read the last stanza here. In short, this and the previous stanza together express that one who has come to entertain constantly, at least at one corner of his mind, a continuous awareness of the divine principle and allows it to influence upon the rest of his mental field, he is the one marked out for progress and growth, both in his life within and in the life without. Just as a blue street light throws a pool of light, irrespective of the dresses that they wear, all gather upon themselves an extra blue tinge, so too in the bright light of divine awareness, even criminal thoughts rising in that mind would gather the golden hue of a godly perfection. Like the mothballs kept in a wardrobe, protect all the clothes kept therein, and keep away all the worms, so too the constant smaranam of the divine nature of the self protects the human personality from the destructive worms of its inward negativities.
How beautiful. How beautiful he said it. I absolutely love this one. I'll never forget after I read this. This is the most beautiful thing Swamiji explained. Because sometimes we don't understand what it means to have a firm resolve or, single pointed net. It's not like, oh, I have to drop everything and keep thinking of Lord Krishna. That's not what it is. It is having that awareness, and that this blue light, like he said, that if you are passing under the blue light, no matter what color you are wearing, it will give a blue tinge. So if you have that awareness, it will give divinity to your life. It will take you to the right path. And then, that we talk about smaranam, that smaranam in that real context, smaranam, that you have the awareness of that, firstly understand who God is, and then you have that awareness, you will not do wrong things. Or kuch galti idhar udhar ho bhi jayegi, you will come back, right? You might apologize, you will go back on the right path very quickly. You will not justify your wrongdoings and all that. So I thought this was such a beautiful, and that mothball ka thing, we used to do that in India, right? Phenyl ki goli, we used to put it, I don't know, in Mumbai people used to do that because all the humidity and all that, bugs can come in. They want you to put in one corner only. But uska pura fragrance फैल जाता है. And then it keeps all the bugs away. The same way, the smaranam, they call it, of divine nature, protects human personality. The most beautiful way he ended this.
Yeah. I like the way he said, even if there is this light in one corner of the mind, that is so encouraging for many of us, because
Yes.
हम सोचते हैं हमसे वो फुल टाइम डिवोशन कैसे होगा, सिंगल पॉइंटेड डिवोशन हर वक्त हम नहीं रख सकते. बट फॉर हिम टू से दैट ओके, लेट इट बी इन वन कॉर्नर, तो जैसे वो एक मॉथ बॉल है, तो पूरी फिर अलमारी को प्रोटेक्ट करेगी.
Exactly.
टू वरी अबाउट गेटिंग ओवरवेल्म्ड बेसिकली. हमसे इतना नहीं हो सकता. You just try a little bit and then let it take over itself.
Yeah,
very nice.
So beautiful.
Very
I think
nice examples.
This last few verses are extremely encouraging for everybody. Yeah. Very nice, beautiful. And it's coming directly from Lord Krishna. No, nobody has put their own ideas. He's saying it. Any other comment, question? Nothing? Okay. All right, so shall I close Bhagavad Gita here? Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.